I feel like this show is so great, and for it to continue to be great, it has to end soon. I cannot see you, Netflix, having like 7 or 8 seasons and it not being ridiculous. For clicking on this video. It's your girl Yoga Karma. If it's your first time here, let's get it out the way. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, what's up with you? Make sure you like, comment, and share, okay? Because you already subscribed, and I appreciate you. Listen, we're talking about Netflix hit show You, okay? I have been watching this show from the very beginning, and this is one of my all-time favorite shows. I absolutely love this show. There is nothing about it that I do not like, okay? I love it. If you're unfamiliar with the show, just a quick rundown of what it is. It's about a serial killer who is obsessive. He's a psychopath, and he just going around killing folks. But it's the way he does it and why he does it that makes it so intriguing and just makes you come back for more, right? Those of you that do watch it, you definitely understand what I'm talking about. So let's get right into the main character, okay? So let's talk about Joe Goldberg. This show has done a magnificent job of making you have compassion and actually like a psychotic serial killer, okay? Because in any normal circumstance, if you were just watching a crime show, right? And you were watching a show about a man that's killed every woman he's ever been in love with, the people around her, you would be like, he's sick. He needs to go to jail. Like, you would literally like hate this person. But this show and Penn Badgley, who delivers this character, Joe Goldberg, so perfectly, have you making excuses for Joe. Like, he'll kill somebody and I'll be like, but, like, right? Like, when he killed Beck, right? I knew I was hooked on this show when he killed Beck, and I was like, well, she did cheat on him. Like, girl, what? Girl, really kill Peach? I was like, but you know, she was like stalking Beck. Like, I don't know what the formula is. It's like that humanized him so much. It's like that want that he wants for love. It's like that you register with him in a way, and then another way you're like, okay, Joe, you kind of crazy. And then the other thing about Joe is just like his delusion, right? Joe is very delusional, right? Like, okay, let me give you an example. For those that have watched or those that don't watch and you're just watching, okay? Joe has a couple, the Conrads, who I love, by the way. They casted them perfectly. He has Sherry and Carrie Conrad locked up in a cage, okay? They're locked up in a cage, right? He has Theo on the ground, knocked out. This is all season 3 towards the end. Theo knocked out on the ground. He's on the phone with Marianne talking about, I'll see you in the sky. Really laughing, really in love, okay? Joe, how on earth did you really think that with the Conrads locked up, Theo presumably dead on the ground, you was gonna just run off in the sunset with Marianne? I mean, just completely delusional. Here's another thing about Joe that just makes him a horrible person, right? On top of him being a psychopath and delusional, he was in a marriage. Now, he only married Love because she got pregnant. Remember that at the end of season 2? That's the only reason he married her, right? But as they're going through this marriage and he knows that it's not for him, instead of him, hey, he could have ghosted her for all I care, right? And I'm going to get into that. But instead of him just going to her and saying, Love, I don't want to be with you, he starts doing all kind of crazy stuff to end their marriage, right? Just all kind of just going along with stuff, just having threesomes. Like, he just doing all kind of stuff. Joe was willing to sleep with a man to get out of the marriage. Like, how crazy can you be? To have Love thinking that he's all in it, like he's all in it to win it, right? And he was kind of gonna ghost her, but then he didn't get a chance to do that. But what kind of person is not happy in the relationship, so they start faking everything in the relationship to get out of it. I mean, when you think about it, it sounds like a lot of people's relationships. But anyway, that just made Joe a horrible person to me. Like, dude, I'm trying to like you so bad. I make all these excuses for you, but the stuff you were doing in that marriage was just like, bro, you were tripping. Here's a question that I wanted to ask about Joe, because I understand a lot of his issues come from his mother, right? A lot of his issues goes back to his mother and his childhood. It's why we always get the flashback, and he has mommy issues. But when Love got pregnant, and at the beginning of season 3, they thought that they were having a girl, right? But they ended up having a boy, and Joe was so disappointed. He was so like, oh my gosh, I'm having a boy. That's one thing about this show. I never understood why he was so upset about having a boy. If you can explain that to me, I really appreciate it, because I don't get why he was so upset, like, of having a boy. I just didn't understand why that changed the course of anything. So let's talk about a character that so many people love, but I couldn't stand her. And I'm talking about Love, okay? I could not, listen. At the end of season 2, when Love came out and she told Joe that she knew all about him. She knew about he was a serial killer. She knew about the cage. She knew his deepest, darkest secrets. She knew he killed Beck. She knew everything about Joe, and she still loved him. I was rooting for her. I didn't like that she killed Delilah now. She had no business. It was to protect Joe and Candace. I ain't like Candace. She could have killed her. But Delilah, she didn't have to do that, okay? She did not have to kill Delilah. However, I understood it because she was trying to protect Joe. And so at the end of season 2, for me, Joe was presented with actual love, right? And this is what also makes him a horrible character. He was presented with actual love, not to mention the play on the fact that her name is Love, right? He was presented with true love, right? True love that a person knew his deepest, darkest, nastiest things. Somebody that he could be himself with. He didn't have to hide. He didn't have to create all these lies with her. He was presented with love. You know the first thing Joe does? He don't want it. In that moment at the end of season 2, I actually liked Love. I was like, oh, I understand her. I get it. Joe has found love, literally. Yay, Joe. And he just didn't want it. He was like, as soon as he realized she killed Delilah, he was disgusted. At that moment, I was on her side and I was swindling from Joe. But let me tell you what made me swindle back to Joe and not like Love. Because, baby, how you go to Madre Linda, okay, and you just killing up everybody for no reason? I mean, at the slightest inconvenience. Why did Natalie have to die? That was the dumbest, like, girl. She is showing you a bakery property, okay? And because Joe is obsessed with her, you got to kill her. Like, it just didn't, like, I just feel like her character went crazy. Like, she just could not stop killing people. Or the guy that, you know, got their child Henry sick with the measles or whatever he had. You gonna bash him over the head? Like, she was just out of control. And her being that impulsive and out of control, like, she had to go. Like, her character became insufferable because on one hand, yes, Joe was playing her in a way, and like, she could feel that their marriage wasn't working. She could feel that Joe never liked her. She could kind of feel him pulling away from her. Okay, Love, I understand, right? So at one point I get her, but you got to kill up the whole town? You got to just create a freaking mess. Y'all supposed to go there and start over. And yes, while Joe didn't go over there and completely start over, he was trying. He did do the Natalie thing, and he was wrong for that. He was wrong for that. However, she did not have to kill that woman, okay? She did not have to kill that woman. Love was out of line. To me, her character was just insufferable. So listen, I know a lot of people. There are so many people who love that character, and they are hoping that she comes back in season 4. Here's my take on it. Victoria played the hell out of Love Quinn. You understand me? Love Quinn carried season 2 and season 3 to me. Like, just trying to see what she did and everything. Like, oh my God, there's love, there's love, there's love. But she had to go. Like, I do not want her in season 4, guys. I'm sorry. I hope Love burnt up in that house. it's just me. I want to go home. Now, here's who I would really like to see in season 4. Sherry and Carrie Conrad. I fell in love with their characters. I absolutely loved Sherry and Carrie. Both of them were such a refreshing annoyance a little bit, but I understood them and I loved them. I loved everything about them in season 3, and I would love for them to come back in season 4 some kind of way. I don't care if it's a snippet of them on TV. I just want to see Sherry and Carrie. Here are 2 characters that I would also love to see in season 4 that are from season 1. So Ellie, who is Delilah's sister that got murdered and Joe sent her off, he sends her money and stuff like that. I would love for her to show back up in season 4 in some capacity. Whether or in the future, whether it's revenge for her sister's death or what have you. I just felt like them sending her off. I just kind of feel like that's unwritten a little bit, and I would like it written back into the show at some point. I also would like for Paco to come back. Remember, Paco was Joe's neighbor's son that he took care of, right? She had the abusive boyfriend in season 1. I would love for Paco to come back. Paco knows who the real Joe is. Paco knows that Joe killed Beck. Paco knows that Joe killed his stepdad. Paco knows a lot about Joe and why he was a little kid at the time. At this point, he's grown up a little bit. I don't know how many, not that many years have passed. It'll only be like 1 or 2 years. But if this show happens to go on in the future to where Paco can kind of grow up, maybe even turn a serial killer himself. You know, I don't know as a kid how you get better from that, but I would love for Paco to show back up. So let's get into some season 4 predictions real quick, right? Here's one thing that this show to me is going to have a problem with. Joe keeps getting dramatically worse, okay? So Joe has lost a toe at this point. Joe, remember, he lost his finger. It's sewn back on, but he lost a finger. He's now presumed dead under Joe Goldberg, right? So he can never really enter the United States like that. And his trail that he leaves is messy. Joe is a mediocre guy that has worked in bookstores all his life. He really, to me, I don't think he has any money unless, you know, he has like Looney's old money, like that old librarian guy that used to lock him in the cage. Unless he has like some money stacked up somewhere, I don't see that he has a lot of money, right? So how does a guy that's like that leaves the sloppy trail of victims and people continue to make it? Like, now you're in Paris with a fake name. You're Joe. You're going to kill people. Things are going to happen, right? How do you get out of it at this point? I feel like this show is so great. And for it to continue to be great, it has to end soon. I cannot see you, Netflix, having like 7 or 8 seasons and it not being ridiculous. Right? Because I think so far they've done things kind of realistically, right? But I just don't know how the writers would do it with how dramatically worse he gets and how each time he had to exit his situations and they affected him quite a lot. I can see maybe 1 more season or maybe 2 more seasons, but that's it. I think it would end with Joe being killed, like somebody from his past, like coming to get him, right? Or Joe killing himself. That is the only way that I see that this gets better. Do I see Joe actually finding true love? Absolutely not, because Joe don't know what love is. He was presented with actual love and he didn't want it. So the way he tries to find love, he goes about it in a horrible way. He stalks his love interest. He turns into a person that he's not. Like, you know, he watches their social media. If they like something, then he likes it, right? He just evades their privacy. If they have a problem, he fixes it when they didn't ask him to fix it, which his intentions are sort of good, but they're also malicious because it's to get them to fall in love with you. It's like when they meet him, their life becomes better, but that's because he's orchestrating and doing things in the background in a malicious way. He's killing people. He's making things happen to people that they have a problem with. So essentially they think their life is getting better when they met Joe, when he's just doing crazy things. So does Joe actually get true love? I don't think so. And honestly, he honestly doesn't deserve it. As much as I love that character, as much as I like to make excuses for why he's crazy and he kills people, he does not deserve true love. And unfortunately, if they kill him off, right? So I think there's three ways that it could end. It's him killing off, it's him killing himself, or it's just ending on a cliffhanger of him being in another area like, oh, hello, you. And then we just have to think he never stops, which would be the wackest thing ever. But if they kill him, his death has to be iconic, okay? The writers have to do it in iconic, like, it just has to be iconic. Or the other one, it has to end with him going to jail. Like literally getting sent to prison and everybody being exposed to who Joe Goldberg really is. So one person I want to save for last to talk about was Marianne and her daughter, right? I liked Marianne's character. I really honestly did like her character. I love the actress. I think she did a great job. I just don't know how she fits into season 4. And this is why I say that. Again, Joe is delusional. You had to do this whole grandiose exit in Madre Linda. You had to cut off a toe. You had to be pronounced dead with a burnt up toe, presumed cut up in body pieces. If you don't think that Marianne saw those things, you're tripping, right? But Joe's so delusional, he goes to Paris anyways, where she said she wanted to be. He goes to Paris anyways to find her. Now, say he finds her. How do you walk up on her and say, Marianne, I love you? And even after Love told her that you killed her baby daddy, her ex-husband, her child's father. You killed, I forget his name. Ryan, I think his name was. You killed Ryan. How do you think that you're going to enter her life and y'all are going to live happily ever after? Unless Marianne is just as crazy as you. But I don't think that she is, right? She's like a recovering addict. She's trying to do good. She finally has custody of her daughter because you killed the father. Like, how do you think that that works, right? Especially after what Love told her. So I don't know how she fits into season 4 and how she would even pop up or Joe even run into her in Paris. Like, it literally makes no sense. But she was actually featured in the trailer, right? So we'll see how they write it in. I think that they do have great writers, and I'm honestly excited to see how they incorporate her into season 4. Like, is she actually in there, or is she just in Joe's mind, right? Because remember, he's loopy up here. So is he just like imagining her? Because I just can't seem to, I just don't know how they realistically bring her back and them even interact without blowing his spot up. Is, will Joe have another love interest as a prediction in season 4? He's Joe. All you gotta do is walk by him. Baby, I don't even think Joe got a type. Joe like anybody. Joe be that. I don't know what it takes for Joe to like you, but once he like you, okay? So I think that he would have a new love interest. I hope that this season he tries to be on a straight and narrow, but he already mentioned death and all kind of stuff in the trailer. So we will definitely see. And whoever that love interest is, listen, girl, if Joe love you, you're dead anyway. That's all I got to say. Marianne made it out, but ain't no telling how long she going to make it. Because, baby, everybody Joe love, he killed. So listen, let me know what you thought about the 3 seasons. Again, I love them all. I had no complaints about them at all. I know some people didn't like certain seasons. I love them all. No complaints at all. I have actually watched season 3 in its entirety over probably 10 times since it came out. I mean, I loved it. I keep seeing things that I didn't see before, and I absolutely love it. So let me know, what's your favorite season? Have you watched the show? Do you like the show? What do you feel about the characters? Who's your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character? Do you think Love is coming back in season 4? What do you feel about Marianne and Joe? What do you feel about Joe? And give me all of your season 4 predictions. And if you think that this show can last like 7 or 8 seasons, or are you like me, where you want them to kind of wrap it up and give Joe this iconic death? So listen, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. This has been my review of You on Netflix. I will have more reviews and vlogs and videos to come. So make sure that you're subscribed so you can get those, and that you like and comment this video, and also share it with somebody. And also make sure you follow me on all social media. Listen, you could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I really, really appreciate you. I will see you on the next video. Bye.